Good morning, everyone. I'm happy you're here, whether you're joining live this Monday morning or hopping on to take this recording later in the week. Little different environment that I am recording in today, so I hope you all are still able to see and hear me okay. If you have any issues later on while taking this recording, please just reach out and so I can know for future reference. And then we can work with maybe getting you an older recording if you would like. All right, that being said, for class today, if you like to have those blocks handy, please grab them, anything that you use in place of your blocks, and then anything that can provide a little extra padding under your knees depending on where you are practicing today. All right, all that being said, we are going to get started in child's pose today. Start to make your way toward the back of your mat. Bring those big toes toward one another and then settle in here. So see how far apart you would like those knees to begin class today. Begin to just walk those arms forward, releasing your forehead and your chest down to that space in between your arms. You have that option of adding that prop underneath your forehead or your chest here. Especially if the ground is just feeling a little far away today. I know if you're practicing this at 7 in the morning like me, I'm with you there. So take what you need, check in with those hips, check in with those shoulders. And just try to let that head be heavy into something. And we'll just start our practice here with just a few deep breaths. Maybe you take those breaths as those cleansing breaths. So finding a big inhale in through the nose. Open the mouth, exhale. We'll take 2 more, inhaling and releasing. Last one here, deepest breath yet, filling all the way up to the top. And taking your time to empty all the way out to the bottom. Continue that breath. So if you choose to still find that exhale out of the mouth, that's great. If you're ready to close off through the jaw and keep breathing in and out of the nose, please do that. We'll let those hips remain heavy here. Start to gently lengthen those arms, rise up onto the fingertips. And then start to walk both hands over to the left. Maybe they even travel off the edge of your mat here. Grow a little heavier through that right hip and just breathe. Feeling a stretch all the way from that low back to that shoulder. With your next breath in, start to walk the hands back through center. Maybe pause to once again lift those palms away from the mat. And then take this walk over to the right. Finding a couple deep rounds of breath, this time creating that stretch through the left side by grounding through that hip, reaching long through those left fingertips. Start to walk those hands back to center. Pause once again. And begin to walk the hands back towards your knees this time, lifting all the way up and coming to sit on those heels. So up to you here. If sitting in this seat does not work for you, you can always put a block or a blanket underneath those hips or just come to a seat that feels better. Relax those shoulders. Try to bring those shoulders right over the hips. You might notice you lean back a little here. Take a big inhale, sweep those arms out and up, really stretching high out of those hips. And exhale, release the fingertips back down. A couple more just like that. Inhale to reach. Exhale to lower. Last one here. Inhale, reach those arms overhead. This time, bring those elbows nice and wide, creating that goalpost shape. Feel those shoulder blades pull toward one another. Maybe you pause here. You start to lift that chest toward the sky, opening. And on your exhale, elbows toward one another as you round. You can even think about tucking that tailbone slightly towards your heels. Inhale to open. And exhale, round. Last one here, full breath in. And full breath out. Inhale, open. Once again, sweep those arms to the sky. Same with your exhale, bring those hands down in front of you. Start to crawl your way forward, finding hands and knees. We'll reverse that stretch for our feet. Go ahead, start to tuck those toes down into your mat. Try to get even that pinky toe down. And then pressing into the hands, maybe you rock those hips a little closer towards your heels. 2 more rounds of breath, feeling the stretch through the bottoms of the feet, through those ankles. And then on an inhale, rise yourself up. Do whatever you would like with the feet here. Maybe tap them out, bring tops of the feet back to the ground. Checking that those hips are still underneath our knees, palms are underneath our shoulders. Take an inhale. With your exhale, start to side bend to the left. So we're thinking about bringing that left shoulder a little closer toward that left hip. Maybe you even bring your gaze toward that left hip. Inhale, center, and then exhale, take it to the right. We're just finding this little contraction to one side, opening through the other as we move with our breath. Try to keep that neck long. I know if you're finding that gaze back, that might change, but as you come through center, readjust, find neutral before you switch sides. Take this one more time each way, moving at your own pace. And then as you finish, come through center. And this time we'll take it into our cat-cow. So same movement with breath. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone. And exhale, round your spine, press the mat away, gaze back toward those thighs. Inhaling. And exhale. Now if you'd like to put these two together, go for it. Kind of roll out through the spine here. Of course, adding in any extra movements that would feel good. Just begin our practice. 2 more full rounds of breath, taking your time. As you arrive back at center, bring the gaze down, walk those hands forward, tuck back into those toes, and start to send your hips high. So moving into our downward facing dog. Maybe first down dog of the day, so take some time to really settle in. So again, see what your body is wanting. Maybe it's movement, maybe it's stillness. Check in with the backs of the legs. Try to release those shoulders away from the ears. Maybe take this time to find a couple deep exhales out of that mouth, making sure we're not holding any tension through the jaw. You're feeling really tight through that low back. Maybe bring that bend to your knees. Really pressing those hips high behind you. We'll start to find stillness if you're not already there. Big inhale. Slow exhale. On your next inhale, start to lift your heels. Start to glide forward, arriving in your plank pose. Stacking shoulders over wrists, option to lower those knees to the mat. About bringing that belly button up toward the spine and press the mat away. One more round of breath. And then release those knees down. We'll return back to our child's pose just for a couple moments here. Sitting hips to heels. Maybe you flip those palms to the ceiling, bringing a bend to the elbows. You can release through those wrists, taking some circles or wiggle into those fingers. One more inhale and exhale here. And start to replace those palms back to your mat. Lift your gaze. On an inhale, rise up. Find your tabletop. Want some Here, start to find that neutral spine. So we're getting that core engagement that we find through our plank. Bringing belly button up and in, low back stays long and protected. On an inhale, stretch that left leg back behind you, dial the hip, dial the toes down, and then maybe reach that right arm forward, finding your spinal balance and breathing. Now, option is stay here, working on this balance, or we'll start to think about that cat back as we take a big inhale. And then with your exhale, start to round the spine as that knee and elbow come into hover underneath the body. Inhale, bring everything long. Exhale, mid back to the sky, tuck that chin in as we round. Couple more times through. Try to let that knee and elbow stay in their own lanes here, so they're not coming to meet underneath the body. They're staying working toward parallel. Last one. Inhale and exhale, round. Next inhale, send it out long. Bring that right hand back underneath the shoulder and tuck those left toes to the back edge of your mat. Just start to turn here. So swivel that left heel down. Bring that right leg out for a little kickstand. Right hand will stay planted underneath that shoulder. We're setting up for our modified side plank here, just a variation of our side plank. Roll your shoulders, roll your hips open. Maybe you have a block underneath that right hand. Start to sweep that left arm high. Now think about pressing your hips forward slightly so we're not sitting back here. We're trying to become like we're in that super skinny hallway. Awesome. You can stay right here. Maybe you lift that left arm all the way by that left ear, reaching fingertips toward the top edge of your mat. Now maybe you flex that left foot and begin to lift that leg, using that outer glute to do so. One more breath wherever you are. And then we'll release that left foot if it's lifted. Carefully square yourself back off to the mat. Bring that left knee underneath your hip. Awesome. Keep those hips over your knees. Start to walk both hands forward. We're moving into our puppy pose here. Thinking about releasing that forehead, that chest back to the mat. So falling in between those arms. Arms can be a little wider than your shoulders if that feels better here. And of course, be using a prop underneath that forehead. One more round of breath. And start to release your elbows to the mat. Lift your gaze just to make your way all the way to your stomach. Draw on your stomach, stack those palms, bring your forehead to rest, and then bring a bend to the knees, feet to the sky. Gently rock those legs side to side. And just let this feel good. Coming back to center, feet to the sky. Start to extend your left arm out long from your shoulder. So that palm's going to come in line with your shoulder, but then to the outer edge of your mat. Use that right hand to roll yourself all the way onto that left side, stacking up. And you can use that right hand as a little pillow underneath the head. You can keep the legs bent, maybe legs stacked. If it feels more stable to extend them long or to bring that right foot behind you, please do so. Just find a place for the rest of the body that lets you feel supported. Our goal here is to stretch through that left shoulder, through the left side of the chest. We don't need to find tension in that lower body, in our face. Let yourself settle into the breath here. Take one more round. And then gently start to make your way back to your stomach. Any adjustments? This time we'll send those legs long. Bring the palms underneath the shoulders. Tuck the elbows in by the sides. And with an inhale, rise into your low cobra. So not taking a ton of weight into those hands. We're really focusing on stretching the spine long. And just a little lift here, rolling those shoulders back. And as you're ready, release all the way down to the mat. Send a little more weight into those palms. We'll meet either in that down dog or child's pose. So see what you would rather do here. You're sitting hips to heels or sending hips high. We'll take 2 rounds of breath. And as you're ready, we will all meet in our tabletop. Making your way to hands and knees. Spread through those fingers, through those palms. Start to bring that engagement into your core. Gazes down on an inhale. Stretch that right leg back behind you. Make sure as you do that you don't create that curve through the low back, that you're not dropping that belly button to the mat. Readjust. And then maybe send that left arm forward. Balancing here. And one more inhale, find a little more length. And then with your exhale, start to think cat back as you round the spine, knee and elbow come in underneath the body. Inhale, extend long. And exhale, round. 2 more times. Think about this being initiated from that core, from that rounding of the spine. That's what's getting that arm and leg to hover in. Last one. Taking your time to exhale and curl. Inhale, extend. Exhale, release that left hand. Release your right toes down to the mat. Start to swivel that right heel down. Take that left leg out as a little kickstand. We're coming into that side plank variation, stacking left hand underneath that shoulder and maybe sending your right arm high. Now try to press those hips forward slightly. We're not sending hips toward that back heel. Maybe you reach those right fingertips to the top edge of your mat. Notice that space it creates through the right side. All the while, this left side is working to keep us lifted. Maybe you flex that right foot and begin to hover the leg away from the mat. Gaze can be up, gaze can be down. Check in with the neck here. One more inhale. With your exhale, release that right foot if it's lifted. Take your time to square yourself back off to the mat. And both knees will come back down. Perfect. Tabletop. Again, returning to that puppy pose, leaving those hips where they are. Start to walk those arms forward. Bowing down to the earth. This time, that option to bring those palms away from the mat, rising onto fingertips. Trying not to shorten our breath here. This can be an intense pose, especially depending on how our upper body's feeling, that low back. So take your time, try to breathe through it. We'll bring those palms down if they're lifted, bend those elbows, and make our way all the way to our stomachs. That nice little release. Stack those palms, let your forehead have a pillow, and then bend those knees, gently rock the legs side to side. Trying to release any tension from that low back. And come through center. Start to extend your right arm out long. Palm is in line with that shoulder. Trying to get that arm as straight as possible here. And then using that left hand to roll yourself all the way to that right side. Stacking up, maybe using that left hand as a pillow. Taking whatever variation you would like with that lower body here. Trying to let yourself fall heavy into this stretch. Take one more full round of breath. And then gently start to roll yourself back to center. Both hips and shoulders to the mat. Send the legs long. Palms back underneath those shoulders. Tuck the elbows into your sides, setting up for that back bend. On an inhale, lift your head, lift your chest. Now, if you feel ready and you would like to, you can press a little more weight into those hands, but check in. And always stay in that low cobra, working on that back strength here, maybe even hovering those hands away from the mat. We'll all take one more inhale. And then exhale to release. Finding your way to child's pose or down dog for 2 rounds of breath. We will all start to find and meet in downward facing dog, sending hips high. Give that head a little shake out. Start to bend your knees, look to your hands. Come to a forward fold at the top of your mat. Feet hips width distance apart. Let yourself bow in here and grab for those opposite elbows. Maybe just let those fingertips draw circles on the ground as you sway gently side to side. And coming through center, on an inhale, rise halfway, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Take your next inhale to come all the way to standing, arms sweep out and up. Then exhale, hands to heart center. We'll pause for a breath in our mountain pose. Arms can be long by your sides or pressed toward one another. Relax those shoulders, maybe close your eyes for a moment. Big inhale, arms out and up. This time with your exhale, sink those hips low. Come into your chair pose. So if you prefer to have your feet a different width, so maybe pressed all the way together or a little wider here, go ahead and take it. Send those hips back, look down toward those feet. Make sure you can see those toes, maybe give them a wiggle. And relax those shoulders down your back. Have those arm variations. We won't be here too long. We're going to start to bring those hands, once again, to meet at heart center, elbows wide. Now lifting your chest toward those thumbs, big inhale. With your exhale, start to twist to the left. Them side long. Inhale, center. And then exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, center, sweep those arms high. And then exhale, fold, release. Your next breath in, will lift halfway, long spine. Exhale, fold, plant those fingertips, step that left foot back behind you. Come into warrior one here. Maybe you walk that right foot out toward the edge of your mat, creating space for those hips. Once you're ready, rise with hands on hips. Bending that right knee, that left foot is down at a 45-ish degree angle. With our hands on our hips, gently guide that right hip back, left hip forward. So our goal here is to square our hips, our torso toward that front, that top edge of our mat. That doesn't have to happen, but work towards squaring those hips as much as possible for you today. Once you feel stable, sweep those arms high. Relax those shoulders. Awesome. Now start to bend those elbows wide, opening the heart, and then maybe staying here. Maybe bringing those hands behind you for a bind. You can grab for opposite wrist, forearms, elbows. If you feel ready, you can interlace those fingers. With an inhale, we'll all lift the chest. Maybe stay, or if you'd like, begin to fold inside of that right leg. So think about bringing that right shoulder inside of that right knee. Trying to let that head be heavy. If you have the fingers bound, maybe the clasp moves away from your low back here. Do what you need. You can always stay lifted in this shoulder opener. We'll all begin to press through the feet to rise, releasing whatever bind you have, sweeping the arms high. With your exhale, hands down to frame your front foot. Maybe walk that foot back to center, lift that left heel, so moving back to our lunge here. And then release that left knee down to the mat. To press down through your right foot and sit it back, coming into half splits. You might want to walk that right foot forward here, adding as much length as you would like behind that leg to create that stretch. Fingertips can be on blocks. Now gently guiding that right hip back even here. 2 more rounds of breath. Flex those right toes to the face. Keep that foot active. Then begin to walk yourself forward. We'll plant that right heel. Leave that left hand where it is. And on an inhale, sweep that right arm high, twisting. Awesome. Start to release that right hand back down to frame your front foot. You can leave that left knee down or pick it up. Here we're going to transition into our plank pose. Totally up to you. Palms will plant. Step that right foot or right knee back. Plank pose. Awesome. Keep that right hand just where it is underneath that shoulder. We're opening into our side plank here. You have options to release that right knee to the mat. Swivel that left heel down and open. You can also keep the knees lifted. Swivel both heels to the right. Reach that left arm high. Feet can be staggered. Feet can be stacked. Try to flex those feet. Awesome. Think about stacking shoulders, stacking hips. Maybe that left arm reaches by the left ear, fingertips to the top edge of your mat. Breathe. Press down through that right hand, relax the shoulder. We'll all slowly square ourselves back off to the mat. Take an inhale. And then exhale, down dog or child's pose. See what you need. Give yourself a couple rounds of breath, maybe those big cleansing breaths. Give that head a shake or a rock side to side. We will meet in downward facing dog as you are ready. Bending the knees, looking to the hands. Forward fold, top of the mat, your way there, bowing as you arrive. Take your next breath to lift halfway. And exhale, fold. Next inhale, rise all the way to standing, arms out and up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Find your pause in this mountain pose, big breath. As you're ready, check out those feet. See if they are where you'd like them to be for your chair pose. Inhale, sweep the arms high. With your exhale, sit those hips back. Settle in. Think about pulling that belly button in, just as we did in that tabletop to create that long, low back. Take a big inhale, find a little more length, and then exhale, hands to heart center. Awesome. Relax those shoulders. Big breath in. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist to the left. Try not to lift the hips as you come through center. Inhale, reach the arms high. Exhale, forward fold. Nice job. Inhale to rise halfway. And exhale, fold. Plant your fingertips. Step that right foot back behind you. Looking for that warrior one. So you're walking that left foot out, giving yourself space, swiveling that right heel at a 45. When you're ready, lift with hands on hips. Bending that left knee. Trying not to let it surpass that ankle by too much here. So if it's going over those toes, take a wider stance with those feet. Gently guide that left hip back, right hip forward. And reach the arms to the sky. You settle just a little deeper. Start to bend those elbows wide. Lift your chest, staying in this goal pose. Or sweeping the arms behind you. If you're finding a bind, try to find the opposite one, so the one that feels funky to go into. Take a big breath. Lift the chest. Maybe this is where you pause, breathing. You want to find that fold, totally up to you. We notice what the breath does. If you fold forward and you feel like you are holding your breath, maybe you adjust. You come back to standing. Press down through the feet. Try to keep guiding that left hip back, right hip slightly forward. Stabilize. Your next inhale will all start to rise. Take your time, sweeping the arms to the sky. And then exhale, hands down to frame that front foot. Start to walk it in. We're setting up for our lunge here. Lifting that right heel high and then bringing that knee down as you're ready. We're to press that left leg long as we move into our half splits. Bring the hips back. Be grabbing for those prop cues underneath your fingertips. Getting that stretch through our front leg as we gently guide that hip back in space. And flex through that foot. 2 more rounds of breath here. And as you come to that next inhale, start to walk it back forward. Planting that right hand, moving into our twist, sweeping that left arm high. Gently bring both hands back to frame that foot, transitioning into our plank pose, either with knees lifted or lowered. Bring that left leg back to meet the right. Shoulders over wrists. We're making our way into that side plank. Option to bring that left knee down. Option to swivel those heels down. We'll all open up. Right arm to the sky. Feet can be staggered. Feet can be stacked. Try to press that right hip just a little higher. And then maybe send that right arm by your ear. Fingertips to the top edge of your mat. Breathe. One more inhale. And exhale, slowly release. Square yourself off. Drop your knees. From here, bend your elbows as you come all the way down to the mat. Awesome job. So again, find that pillow for your head. Bend those knees, feet to the sky, and gently rock those legs side to side. Deep breaths in and out. Bring those legs to center. And just roll yourself all the way to your back from here. As you reach your back, draw those knees into your chest. And you find that rock again, this time from hip to hip. We'll bring those feet down to plant. We'll set up for 1 round of bridge pose here. Walk those feet in nice and close to your hips. Arms along by your side. We've done a good amount of shoulder opening, so if you would like to go for the bind, I'll walk you through that as well. On an inhale, press into the feet. Start to lift your hips. If you'd like to begin to bring one shoulder underneath the chest and the other, and a little more lift. And from here, maybe grabbing for the edges of your mat, or finding that interlace of the fingers, pressing that clasp down, lifting your hips just a little higher. Gaze stays toward the sky. One more round of breath if you're still here. And gently release the hands and slowly release those hips. Walk those feet nice and wide. Bring your arms out into that goalpost shape or long from the shoulders. Let both knees fall to the right. Bring your gaze over that left shoulder. Needing to slow down the breath even more here. Noticing how the body feels after this movement on your mat. Maybe notice how the mind feels. On an inhale, bring the knees back to center. And then exhale, rock them the opposite way. Take your gaze to the right. Inhale to center. Any last movements here? Maybe knees back into the chest. You can curl into that little ball. Anything else that would help you make your way into your final pose, your Shavasana. Always taking that time to find a final pose that would feel like a rest for you, that would feel good. You can use any props you have. You can stay long on your mat. Become to seated, maybe come to one side. Start to find your way into stillness. Maybe you close those eyes. Release all control of the body and the breath. And take as much time as you have just to stay here and to be. Learning to thank yourself, making the time. Time and the space for your mind and for your body. I will leave you all here. Please enjoy your Shavasana, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you.